All right, I just wanted to watch Vegan Gains. He was trying to debate me and I wasn't paying attention. Let's watch it.
Murder to kill that trait equalized human being.
All right, so
Yeah, that was a cringe ass fucking debate, dude. Thanks for the donation though, Dato. Taylor, $22. Hey, Mr. Slave, we're know you're watching his stream right now, Law.
The fact that you're getting so upset and so emotional, that's an indication that you have you're biased. See, I'm not biased. I don't care either way. She, I think, is also not biased. She's just as
Okay. This is fucking ridiculous.
have to present a certain position to your paying customers. So you have to pretend to be of a certain persuasion. So internally, you might have your doubts. You're like a priest that internally has
So
doubts.
he's
about-
texting me. So he's commenting in the chat, and I obviously I don't see it because I never look at the chat. So I'm completely missing it.
the religion, but externally, you have to perform for the audience the sermon. That's
I don't even know if he knows that I'm talking about him.
what you're like, which is, and then I can understand why you're acting. So it's a performance. You're giving a performance. You're not really.
He says, come debate me right now, coward." He thinks I'm a coward.
uh, displaying your true emotions. You are faking your emotions.
If you can react to stimuli, that is what she defines as sentience. I said, no, that's not what sentience is. You have to have a cognitive perception of the stimuli.
What do you mean? I don't know. Now I don't know what you mean. A cognitive perception of this.
How is he not?
Means.
How is he not seeing the
Cognitive
chat?
Perception of the stimuli, and that's what I think she's going to go after. She's going to say, "Well, that's very human-centric of you." So we don't know what other creatures, I guess, what their experience is.
How is the term cognition human-centric? Is you have to have a cognitive perception.
Cognitive perception. I honestly don't even know what that means. I mean, unless you mean like an awareness, like the experience, like they have a name, qualia. The experience, like the feeling, like living through. It's difficult to find the words. Even qualia is a word they had to make up, and I don't even know.
Dude, what is this guy like on crack?
What it means.
No, there's no way I know that there's messages in the chat because I'm busy recording on a different tab.
We're just having these discussions, and it's not really clear.
I guess he has two monitors, so on one monitor he sees one tab, and another monitor he sees the other things. That's the way he works.
The whole thing around
I'm working with a single, like I'm just using my laptop. That's my disadvantage.
consciousness and awareness. This is like it's a it's a very old discussion, and so you're saying, so your definition of sentience is this conscious experience that you need a very big brain for, something like that. And in her opinion, she's going to even single.
This can't be pre-recorded.
That display.
Okay, this guy is like literally fucking retarded. There's no way that's pre-recorded. He's just reacting to the stream right now. What a dumbass. Mr. Slave is just fucking so dumb.
Skip to 138 in the last clip. These 3 clips are the first things I think about when Walt Disney's mentioned.
Okay, I don't care about Walt Disney.
Thing wrong with this.
Well, thanks for the donation, bend over. Donate $2. That was one of another kick or keep stream. If you
publication of the story
yeah, so I was watching you react to the stream. Discord. Hey,
of the publication of the story originated from, it still persists.
Mr. Slave's in the Discord. Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, so I was watching you react to the stream. So the 2 big disagreements that I had with Scientific Snitch, well, at least now I can't remember. At least one is the claim that single cells can be sentient. Oh no, and I remember the second one. That plants feel pain. So, care to show me anywhere in the fucking research she mentioned where there's evidence in favor of the idea that single cells can be sentient and that plants can feel pain?
So, I don't exactly share her opinions. I prepared her. If you want to discuss these topics, I could. It would be my opinion, not hers. So, in my opinion, I think even if you could argue that even a virus has sentience, depending on the definition of sentience.
There's only one definition of sentience. It's the ability to have a subjective experience. So where's the evidence that a virus is able to have a subjective experience?
So the question is, what do you mean? What is your scientific definition of subjective?
What do you mean scientific definition? This has nothing to do with science.
Right. This is a major problem with vegan gains and with a lot of people in the debate community and the philosophical community. A lot of the people that should be more science oriented have been infected by this philosophy virus. And I think it's utter nonsense because any discussion has to be completely scientific. Anything that is not scientific is utter nonsense. There's no reason to debate anything that is not scientific. Either it is completely observable or there's no reason to discuss it. And any discussion of it is completely nonsensical. And so I have to always, when I start debating people, I have to make sure that either you're completely scientific and our discussion is going to be about the science, or it's utter nonsense and I wouldn't have anything to say about utter nonsense, obviously.
This is a philosophical issue, and
There's no such thing as a philosophical issue. There's either science or nonsense. Either it's observable or it's not observable. If it's not observable, there's nothing to discuss.
it's the ability to have a mind. Okay, so there's no.
That's not an observable, unless, I mean, I guess a mind is observable, but fine, in order to synchronize what we're going to test for, what our the experiment that we're going to conduct in order to discover such a thing called mind. So we need a scientific definition. I need to know what is the scientific apparatus, what is the observable, what are we looking for? How do we know that we found this thing that we both agree is mind? Otherwise, how do we know what we're talking about?
No scientific definition of what a mind is.
If there's no scientific definition of what a mind is, then this discussion doesn't start. It doesn't get started. Then what are we discussing?
This is philosophy.
If it's philosophy, then we might as well discuss how many angels can fit on the head of a pin. It's a completely nonsensical.
We know what a mind is.
I don't know what you mean when you say mind. When most people say mind, I have sort of an idea, but now my point was that, you could argue that humans have the most complex mind known in the known universe. And I would say that a virus has the simplest, most primitive form of the same mind. But it's the same nature. It has input, processing, and output. Maybe that's something I could have added to the discussion. So if it has input, processing, and output, then that's a mind. So a virus has that. And obviously we have that, and everyone in between has that. And then you could argue that even a plant has that. Or a single cell of each plant has that.
Of minds. It's just something that has the ability to perceive something on a cognitive, conscious level.
You could argue, I guess, maybe that some molecules exhibit this behavior of input, processing, output, but certainly a single cell has that, a single virus has that, either of a plant or an animal.
Great. So, look, if we're not having a scientific discussion, then this is what I would define as utter nonsense. So either we're having a scientific discussion or we're talking nonsense.
Sorry, so what paper did she actually link that gave a definition?
Another problem with Vegan Gains is he wants papers. I don't know why he wants papers. I mean, we want to discover the truth. That's what we seek. So, I mean, sometimes you can discuss papers for, I guess, cutting edge experiments and theories, but a lot of human knowledge is available on Wikipedia, on YouTube, in lectures, in textbooks. Human knowledge is available not only in the form of the latest peer-reviewed papers.
Definition to what sentience is.
And I'm not representing her. I'm not her lawyer. You
Let's
can
listen
ask me
again.
Sentience.
talking nonsense.
Sorry.
I-
Okay, so what paper did she actually link that gave a definition to what sentience is?
And I'm not representing her. I'm not her lawyer. You can ask me these questions, and
Can you link me to one paper that defines what sentience is?
Um,
I don't know why he's asking me for a paper that defines sentience. Why do you want a paper that defines sentience? A paper that defines that doesn't make any sense. That's what he asked for.
I'm not representing her. I'm not her lawyer. You can ask me these questions, and
Can you link me to one paper that defines what sentience is?
Can you link me to one paper that defines what sentience is? A paper usually doesn't define. I mean, words are defined by culture. Words evolve. Like, show me a paper that defines one. I don't know. Maybe there is. Show me a paper that defines the word define. Show me. I don't know, like papers. This is common knowledge. The definition of words is common knowledge. It's not important what the definition is. We just need words in order to agree on what we're discussing, right? We want to synchronize our understanding of reality, of truth, of science. We use words as shorthands for at the end of the day to express ourselves. So I don't know why he's asking. He keeps asking for papers. Like, I don't see the point of that.
Look,
Whenever sentience is used in a scientific context, like if we're determining whether or not a fetus is sentient and whether or not it's moral.
I've never read. I don't think I've ever read a paper that discuss. I actually did study embryology. I mean, brain development in the embryo. That's actually a very interesting subject to study, and I did study it a little bit. So when we study the brain development in a fetus, no one ever discusses when it becomes sentient. Like, neurons start firing at a certain point. They start growing and what's the opposite of growing? Sometimes they cut off their own processes, their own extremes, their own axons and dendrites. They just die off suddenly. I forgot the name of this specific process. But so we know. I mean, this is a well-studied topic, but why? But this is I've never seen this come up in a scientific paper or in a scientific discussion. This is more like a legal discussion because society defines murder, so we need to define when is it a murder. Fuck you, Mr. Slave, you dumbass. Your name is a insult to Richard's ancestors? Oh, that's interesting. Well, Mr. is master, and master slave is okay. Well, Richard didn't bring it up, so let Richard bring it up. We can discuss it. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. This is off topic. Let's listen.
To have an abortion at a certain period of gestation.
Yeah, I don't care about abortion so much, so I never looked into this when I would define it as sentient. And anyway, you could argue that a single sperm is sentient and a single egg is sentient. And you could argue at any point. this machine is sentient. I mean, it depends on your definition of sentience.
They're talking about philosophy. It's just that they're
That's insignificant. We need to. We're trying to discuss observables. I don't know what it means. Philosophy.
using science to figure out when this philosophical concept of a mind.
No, I don't care about this philosophical concept of a mind. I care about an observable mind, a scientific mind. I don't care about a philosophical definition. Philosophical definition is just a legal definition. That's just for social norms. That's not what I care for right now. Right now, we're having a scientific discussion. And as a scientific discussion, an embryo, as far as I'm concerned, a single sperm is sentient and a single egg is sentient. Any cell is sentient. And I think she even brought up the paper that discusses that every single cell wants to live, tries to live, and tries to survive, and has input, I would add, has input, processing, and output, which makes it very similar to any one of us. So
actually develops. So like the idea that science and philosophy are completely like don't have anything to do with each other is
I totally don't care about philosophy unless we're discussing the philosophy of science. That is important to understand. Any other philosophy, I don't know. I mean, the foundations of knowledge, of science, of math, yeah, those are important. The philosophy of knowledge, the philosophy of math, the philosophy of science, the philosophy of philosophy, yeah, those are important. But the definition of an embryo as a person that you cannot abort, that's a legal discussion, and that is something I'm not curious about.
fucking ridiculous. We understand that there are some properties of a brain that produce sentience, and scientists.
What do you mean? It's not a property of a brain. You could, I mean, it depends on your definition, but it could be the property of a single neuron. It could even be the property of the nucleus of the neuron, of the nucleus of any cell. It depends on the definition. You could argue that the nucleus of every cell has sentience because it has input, output, and processing.
Will try to the best of their ability.
But then again, many organelles in the cell have that too. So, yeah.
Look at what evidence is in favor of the idea of the existence of a mind.
1 second, let's check if there's anything interesting happening on my stream. Did I even check my audio? I hear the audio is good, but I didn't check it. Now I see it's good. All right. Let's continue.
Within a fetal brain. But like this idea that there's a scientific definition of what sentience is fucking ridiculous. Like what is
No, if there is no scientific definition of sentience, then we cannot have a discussion.
the difference between a scientific definition and a philosophical definition?
I don't care for philosophical. When you say philosophical, I think you mean legal, and I don't care about that. I care about scientific definition.
Like it would be analytically linked anyway.
What do you mean by analytically linked? I don't know what that means. Analytically linked. I mean, if they're linked, fine. I only care for the scientific one.
Look, I'm not so much interested in definitions. I'm interested in the actual science. So the question is, do me and you have a disagreement about observables, about reality, about science? That's my only question. You think me and you disagree on the science?
Well, look, I was watching your stream and it sounded like you were, for the most part, agreeing with Scientific Snitch. The two claims she made was that a single cell can be sentient, and 2, that plants feel pain. So where are the evidence for those 2 claims?
Okay, so you want science. Let's start with the first one. You want science. I'm willing to go as far as claiming that a virus has, like the question is, what do we mean by sentience? That's I'm going to.
I literally just gave you a definition. It's the ability to have a subjective experience or a mind-dependent experience.
Wait a minute.
If it's mind-dependent, what is the definition of mind?
Can you scientifically define it? What's your scientific definition?
What do you mean a scientific
Measure-
definition? That is the definition.
Observe. What are we looking? What are we observing?
A mind
You know,
can be produced by anything, by any means. It's just what matters is whether or not a mind exists. So show me the evidence for the existence of a mind in a bacteria or in a single cell or in a virus.
Gladly, but hold on. What are we measuring? You have to tell me what we're measuring. What's the?
We can measure whatever the fuck you want. Show me the
No, you have to tell me what we're measuring. What do you mean, whatever I want? I'll tell you what I want. If you don't agree with that, then that's useless.
evidence in favor of the
No.
idea that a virus has a mind.
You need to. You need to tell me. What
I
we're
just gave
testing
you
for.
the definition of what a mind is. It's something that has the ability to have a subjective experience. That is what a mind is.
How do we measure this thing?
You tell me. You're the one
measure?
claiming that a virus has a fucking mind.
No, so okay, so the way I'll tell you how I see it. So
No,
the way
no,
I
no,
see
no,
it
no, no, no,
is-
no, no. You're claiming a virus has a mind. Show me the evidence.
Yeah, let me. I'll tell you. So you can see a video on YouTube. Let's start with an amoeba. There's a YouTube I saw of an amoeba being attacked and being killed, and you can see the amoeba is struggling to stay alive, just like me and you. I mean, and you can see in the comment section that people are reacting. People feel for the amoeba. They feel for it just as much as they feel for any animal.
Yeah, so
So-
just because you have a perception of something struggling it doesn't mean it's struggling. So I want to know what the evidence is for the existence of a mind in an amoeba.
That would be my evidence. mean,
What
it's
that you
behaving just
feel?
like-
What that you feel that an amoeba is sentient is the evidence that it's sentient? That you just feel like it is?
It's-
But like you were the one
behaving-
demanding that I give a scientific definition for sentience, and then your scientific evidence for the existence of sentience in amoeba is, well, I feel like it is. You know what? When I see a tree blowing around in the wind, I feel like the tree is getting knocked.
Yeah, Vegan Gains doesn't understand science. It's like that is a scientific definition. I asked him multiple times to come up with a definition, and he refused. So I gave an observable definition. What do you want? That's my observable definition. If something behaves as if it is struggling to stay alive, then I define it as sentient. Well, you're welcome to come up with an alternative definition of sentience, and then we can do the research and see if an amoeba is sentient according to your definition. By my definition, if I see an animal, if I see an animal that looks like it's struggling to stay alive, I define it as sentient.
knocked around and it's in pain from getting knocked around by such violent winds. I guess trees are sentient now.
Look, that's why I asked you for the measurements.
I don't.
Exactly. I asked you for the measurements. You're not coming with measurements, then I'll give you my measurements, and then you're complaining. What's the alternative?
Need measurements.
we-
You're the one claiming it has a mind. You can use whatever measurements you want. You can use whatever fucking techniques you want to determine how sentience arises in a single-celled organism.
Wait, how it arises? That's very simple.
Show me the evidence. Where's the scientific evidence
How-
that a mind exists in a single-celled organism?
Wait, so you're asking now how this behavior arises. That's actually much simpler. That we know. How the behavior arises, we know. Both in the amoeba and in humans. No, it's just, it's an electrochemical chain reaction. It's very similar, actually. The amoeba and the human, ultimately are, at the chemical level, are identical. It's identical mechanics, molecular mechanics. That's how it comes about. But you can perceive, when you look at it, when you conduct an experiment.
So
you can
your only
see-
evidence is that it moves around. So I'm just going to assume it has feelings.
Well, I don't see any other way to.
Okay,
conduct
so
this
so
experiment.
apparently a scientific experiment is your personal perception of something.
Yeah. You have an alternative definition of science. That's why, we observe. It's all about observation. It's just experiments, experience. That's science. That's empirics. You have a better definition of science?
Your scientific evidence is my personal perception is I think it has a mind. So if I look at a tree and see it getting knocked around and I have the personal perception that, wow, that tree must be in pain. Oh, well, I guess the tree's in pain. That's science to you?
Hold on. So we can talk about plants, but first, that's how. I'm sorry, but if you would ask me to conduct this experiment,
That's not an
what I'm
experiment. That's you
doing.
just saying, oh, well, it looks like to me that this being has a mind. So I guess it has a
When you-
mind.
But when you talk to me, right, it's the same, right? You see me behaving.
That's
the
not an
same as you when
experiment.
you-
That's not an experiment. That's just a perception that I have.
That's an experiment. When you talk to me and you perceive me, that's an experiment. It's a very primitive experiment, but it's an experiment with data. Certainly it is. Yes, it is. You're observing. Of course it is.
So again, where's the scientific evidence that a single-celled organism has a mind? Show me a peer-reviewed paper.
What is this obsession with peer-reviewed papers? I don't understand. What's your difference? I don't understand. He wants paper. I don't get this thing with the paper. The definition of science has nothing to do with papers. The definition of science has nothing to do with papers. You can present your theory, your experiments in many forms. One of them is in paper form, but it doesn't have to be in paper form. You can present it on a YouTube video, in a lecture, in many ways, in a textbook. There's many ways you can present your scientific data, experiment, theory. Paper is one of them. Why does he only look for papers? I don't understand.
But you're not giving me what observables you're
I don't
looking
need
for.
to. I'm the one asking you for the evidence. So show me a peer review.
Evidence for what? Give me evidence. Evidence for what? You have to tell me for what. What's your threshold? What's your definition? What are we looking for? It's like, I don't understand. I mean, he must know this little bit of science. He must know.
Reviewed fucking paper. I don't need to fucking tell you, well, this is my standard for burden of proof. I'm not asking that. I'm just asking for fucking evidence. So show.
Listen, I need your standard. What did he call it? For the burden of proof. That's exactly what I
I need to
need.
fucking tell you, well, this is my standard for burden of proof. I'm not.
Yes, of course you need to give me your standard for the burden of proof. Standard for the burden of proof?
I don't need to fucking tell you, well, this is my standard for burden of proof. I'm not.
Yes. That's exactly what you need to tell me. Otherwise, this is a dead on arrival argument. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to begin this discussion. I need to know exactly what is your standard for your burden of proof, for the burden of proof, whatever. I need to know exactly what you would consider as evidence.
Asking that. I'm just asking for fucking evidence. So show it to me. Show me a peer-reviewed fucking paper.
Oh, when he says evidence, he means peer-reviewed paper. That says what? I don't understand. I'm not following this guy. What do you want the paper to say? That an amoeba moves when we poke it? An amoeba tries to survive when we try to kill it? But you don't disagree with that. There's videos on YouTube of that. There's plenty of that. So why do you need a paper to say what we all know? I don't get it.
Okay, what do you want this paper to say?
I don't need it to say fucking anything. Just show me the fucking evidence in support of your claim.
Why is he getting so upset? I don't understand. I'm killing myself trying to understand this guy. I don't know what's why he's getting so upset.
Okay, do we have a scientific disagreement? Me and you, are we disagreeing on the science?
That's a good question. Are we disagreeing on the science? It's a great question.
Apparently, because you think science is you looking at something and having certain feelings about it.
What do you mean? I'm observing. I'm conducting an experiment, and my observation is a feeling. If I see something, that's a type of a feeling. If I observe, that's a feeling. If I feel, at the end of the day, I feel, right? I can touch and sense and smell the results of the experiment. So these are feelings. So of course it has to do with feelings. That's the input. I'm gathering input from the experiment.
No. I'm saying, do we disagree about reality? Right? You agree that there is a video on YouTube where we see an amoeba struggling as if.
Okay, wait. That's question begging, because when you use a term like struggle assumes that there's a mind present. So that's question begging. So if you're going to use, you can use a term like reacts to.
Right, but you see an amoeba struggling. You see it struggling. What are you gonna say? You don't see it struggling. You see it pretending to be struggling. It is struggling. It's struggling. It's doing its very best. It's fighting for its life, just like me and you. So, what else do you want? What else do you want? This thing is doing its utmost to show, to demonstrate that it's struggling, that it has a mind. Obviously, it has a mind. Whatever, it's a very primitive mind. It's maybe one of the most primitive minds in the known universe, but it's a mind. It's behaving just like me and you.
Or avoids or something like that. But when you use a term like struggle, well, struggling implies that there's a mind involved that is suffering against something.
Fine, it seems like it's struggling. If I would see a
That's
person
question
behaving
begging.
this way,
No, it seems like it's struggling. That too is question begging.
it seems like it's struggling. That's not also not good.
Oh, okay, cool. So when I hit a ball against the wall and I hit the ball against the wall really hard, well, it looks like the ball might be in pain because it's getting like squished really hard. So I guess the ball like has feelings and it has a mind.
I don't know why he's going there. I mean, the amoeba behaves. The ball doesn't behave like it doesn't look like it's struggling to stay alive. If I poke the ball, it doesn't struggle to stay alive. It just dies without a struggle. But an amoeba struggles.
Look, this is why I need you to tell me how you're going to conduct this experiment.
I don't need
know,
to tell you that. I
honestly.
don't need to tell you that. You're the one claiming you have scientific evidence.
What? But we have to synchronize on the definition of the evidence.
That a mind exists in single-celled organisms. So show me the fucking evidence. I'm assuming this is in the form of a peer-reviewed paper, and you're not just making this fucking shit up by claiming.
But we don't have a disagreement on the data. We agree on the data. All that the paper is going to say is what we know is in the data. The data is the YouTube video with the amoeba appearing to struggle for its life.
Claiming, oh, well, I saw this video, and I have certain feelings about it.
But that is science. Science is conducting an experiment and having feelings about the experiment. When you conduct an experiment with the atmosphere, you have detectors and you have certain feelings about the detector. The detector says 0, 1, 5. These are feelings. You feel it says 5. You feel it says 20, whatever. These are feelings. That's all we have. That's how we detect the universe. That is science.
I've seen many videos of single cell.
Do you have a single peer-reviewed paper indicating
He wants a peer-reviewed paper indicating what?
that there is sentience in single-celled organism? Yes or no?
That there's sentience. I mean, actually, she brought up a paper that discusses sentience in a single-celled organism.
Oh, okay, what do you mean by
It's
sentience?
a yes or no question. Do you have a paper indicating the presence of sentience in single-celled organisms? Yes or no?
We can Google Scholar it if you want.
Oh, okay, so you don't have any evidence of that claim. Oh, okay, so let's move on to the second claim.
We can Google Scholar. What do you mean I don't have? But if it's important for you, then let's Google Scholar it and we'll find out.
Do you believe that plants feel pain?
I'll gladly move on. So your definition of evidence is a peer-reviewed paper. That's not evidence.
But
in
evidence is
science,
your
you know.
personal feelings.
Like the people that wrote the peer-reviewed paper, their evidence is other peer-reviewed papers? No, their evidence, they conduct an experiment. So we can conduct experiments too. I mean, we don't have to have peer-reviewed. We don't have to use peer-reviewed papers. We can do what the peer-reviewed papers do. We can conduct experiments ourselves just as well.
So a peer-reviewed paper in a journal is not evidence, but your personal feelings when you watch a video, that's scientific.
But the people that wrote the peer-reviewed paper, they conducted an experiment and they would tell you what they detected. They could tell you that they saw the amoeba struggling. You can get upset at them just as well.
Evidence, but a scientific paper published in a peer-reviewed journal, that's not scientific evidence.
That's not evidence. That's a paper. That's not evidence. Evidence is evidence. Evidence is experiments. A peer-reviewed paper is not evidence.
No, a video is evidence. A peer-reviewed.
No. A simple video is not evidence of, like, a video of a fucking amoeba is not evidence of sentience.
There's plenty of peer-reviewed papers that publish their videos on YouTube.
There's something else that has to be involved that would be used to indicate sentience in an amoeba or any other single-celled organism. So just because you feel a certain way about a video, that doesn't mean that that creature is sentient.
Look, we know the molecular.
But what's the definition of sentience? I mean, sentience is defined by our perception. We perceive something to have sentience.
Mechanics of an amoeba very well. So, I mean, it's a machine. It's a little machine. It's a little robot that behaves in certain ways. But at the end of the day, so are we. We're just, we're just more complex robots. We're just more complex machines. But that's all that we are. So
you believe anything with a metabolism is sentient?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
I don't know why he goes to metabolism. I don't know what that means. But I know that a virus, I would define a virus to have sentience.
Say metabolism. I would say that even a virus that knows to attack its correct.
Oh, that's question begging. That's question begging. Knowing requires a mind. That is question.
Yeah, it has a very primitive mind. That's exactly what it looks like.
What do you mean it seems like? Well, what do you mean it seems like? Like, now we're back to the same fucking problem of you just making assumptions on whether or not something's sentient just because, well, I have a certain feeling about that. It seems like a tree is sentient and has feelings and can get hurt because it really looks like it's getting knocked around violently by the wind.
Look, we can come back to trees. I want to first finish off viruses and amoebas. But
well, I think we're done. I asked you for evidence in the form of a peer-reviewed journal article.
That's not evidence. Evidence is like you can watch a video and the video is the evidence, but not the peer review. The peer-reviewed paper might present evidence, but a peer-reviewed, I don't even know why you need it to be peer-reviewed. There's papers that have not yet been peer-reviewed. They're also available sources of knowledge, and they can present their evidence.
Article, and you can't come up with that. All you've been able to do is say, well, I've seen a video and I feel like this is the case. So I don't fucking care about your stupid feelings. I don't care about your feelings. I care about.
No, but feelings is another word for observation.
If you're going to make a claim that a single-celled organism is sentient, I'd like to see evidence of that. Your personal feelings are.
What do you define as evidence? I don't understand.
Aren't evidence. The best evidence available would be, again, a journal article published in a peer-reviewed journal, and you can't present that. So moving on to the next topic.
So I don't understand. I don't understand his position. We don't have a disagreement. Do we have a scientific disagreement? That's the question.
Scientific Snitch claimed in a response video.
And he keeps wanting to move on and move on. Why not clearly agree on one topic? Why do you want to move on? I don't understand. I mean, the question is, do we have a scientific disagreement? I don't see a scientific disagreement.
To me, that plants feel pain. Can you show me using any fucking journal article you want, just has to be published in a journal, has to be peer reviewed, that plants feel pain? You can even use the study that she linked. Where was pain mentioned in the paper?
Just before that, can you prove to me that you have sentience?
Like what, with what degree of certainty?
Any degree of certainty.
I can tell you I'm fucking sentient. So that's pretty good. That's pretty fucking good evidence. If somebody can fucking tell you they're thinking and fucking feeling.
I could program a one-line program.
Yeah, well, I'm not a program, so that inference doesn't make any fucking sense.
You are, your type of a program. You're a neural network.
That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. So do you have any fucking evidence in the form of a peer-reviewed paper in a journal that a single-celled organism?
No, I asked you for the evidence that you have sentience. So you're saying, well, I say I have sentience, therefore that's your evidence. That's not evidence. I mean, if that's evidence, then I can write a one-line program that will say that it has sentience.
Organism has sentience. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no is the only thing that should come out of your fucking mouth.
Okay, look.
Okay, yeah, right. We're done. So you have no evidence of that claim. Moving on to the next fucking issue, she claimed that plants feel pain in her fucking video. Does that statement make any fucking sense to you? What evidence did she show that plants feel pain? Do you agree that's a stupid fucking statement to make?
Can I ask you why you're so upset?
Well, because I fucking hate you. You're stupid. You piss me off. You don't listen to what I fucking say, and I want to knock your fucking teeth out. That's why I'm so fucking pissed.
Wait, you want to invite me to an MMA match?
Yeah, I do.
You paying for my travel? Well, I have to fly tomorrow, but
I'll come to you, okay? If I ever travel, I'll let you know, and hopefully you're in the state I travel to.
are you gonna try and kill me?
No, I just want to hit you. So we'll set up an MMA match. If I ever do any traveling, I'll let you know, and hopefully I show up in your state, and then we can go to a fucking gym and have an MMA match.
That'd be nice. Look, look, I don't see a reason why you need to get upset. I honestly, I watch your show. I've learned to really enjoy your show. I think you're.
That's great. So the claim she fucking made was that
I'm trying to give him compliments. I'm trying to calm him down, and he. I think I managed to calm him down just a little bit.
plants feel pain. Where's the evidence that plants feel pain?
So the question would be, what do you mean by pain? How do you measure?
What do you mean? What do I mean by fucking pain? You don't know what pain is? Do you want me to fucking demonstrate to you what pain is? Do I need to kick you in the nuts really hard?
Well, that's actually my line of research. So how do you explain pain? How does pain work?
Pain is
I'd love
a
to-
subjective experience. It causes discomfort in the mind of an organism.
How does that work?
I don't care how it works. I don't care. Show me the evidence in favor of the idea that plants feel pain.
But I mean, you need to explain to me what is pain. What is?
I
your
literally
mechanical-
just told you. It is the feeling
Oh,
of
I know.
discomfort in an organism that has a mind.
No, that I need a mechanical. What is
No,
the-
you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because pain can be brought on by any means. It is mind
No.
dependent. So as long as a
No, no,
feeling
I'm
of discomfort is brought upon an organism that has a mind, that is what pain is. It can be through any fucking mechanism. So show me the
Okay.
evidence that plants feel
Hold
pain.
on. No, given a neural network.
I don't care. Show me the evidence that plants feel pain. Show me a peer-reviewed
No,
paper.
this is what-
Show me a peer-reviewed
have-
paper published in a journal indicating that plants feel pain.
So, look, you're
Do
defining.
you have a single fucking piece of evidence in a
Why is he so upset? I try to get him to calm down. He's still really upset. Very difficult to talk to.
peer-reviewed paper in a journal that indicates plants?
I mean, he's between trying to understand reality and needing to be correct and winning every debate. If he just, but he's very young. Maybe at his age, I was just like him.
Feel pain. Show me one. Look, if this
I
has scientific
honestly-
evidence behind it, if this has scientific support that plants feel pain, then obviously you'd be able to find it in a scientific journal, correct? So show me one paper published in a scientific journal that indicates plants feel pain. And again, pain
Look.
specifically has to be used in the journal. I don't care about, oh, well, plants will react to stimuli in this way. They'll set off pheromones. That's not pain. So I want pain to be used specifically in the journal.
I usually.
Okay, so you
do
don't have
my
any evidence.
research-
Cool. So you don't have any evidence. So you agree that what she said is fucking stupid.
No, I had a discussion with her about this, and I.
Well, no
explained
wonder
what
she
she's
did so
coming from.
poorly in the fucking debate if she listened to you.
Yeah, I heard your comment. That's very funny. Anyway, look, I appreciate you. I don't see the reason you should get upset. I don't think me and you and her have a disagreement on reality. so
No,
I don't-
clearly we do.
I-
She said plants feel pain.
Clearly.
She claims single-celled organisms are sentient.
But she means like in a reflex manner.
No, she didn't, because
Like,
then
isn't
when I brought up in the debate, and this is on her TikTok video, when I brought up in the
Mhm.
debate that somebody who's brain dead, you can poke their toe or something, and their body will make a reflex. It'll activate their nervous system. She said that's not sentient. So no, she said reflexes are not sentient, and then she used this form of doublespeak, saying, "Oh, well, you have to."
Right. So I think I disagree with her about the pain. I think she said they actually yell in ultrasound or something. So what would be the benefit of that? Like humans, we yell because we socially communicate, but why would a plant yell? How would that come about? So I don't see the reason behind this.
be able to cognitively perceive something for it to be sentience. So she doesn't even know what she's talking about. She literally
agree.
double spoke.
I agree. You won the debate against her. That's my feeling. So if that's what we're talking about, I agree. I cannot defend her. And I made a video explaining why I think you won and she lost, and
Okay.
it's up. You can watch it. But the question is, well, how am I and you better than just a mechanical contraption of reflexes?
Well, again, the difference between a mechanical contraption that just has a reflex response is that we are sentient. We can feel. So I put moral value on something that can actually feel or perceive things versus something that just reacts to stimuli.
Me and you, we're just very complex.
He thinks that there is a reflex and there is a mind. He didn't study I guess, enough neuroscience to understand that the brain is just a very complex set of reflexes. And what he perceives as perception, as consciousness, that's just that's just a chain reaction of neuronal interactions.
Chains of reflexes. That's
Y-
all that we are.
No,
That
no,
that
no,
is an-
no, no. We're not. So if
We're not just chains of interneuronal reactions.
you're gonna, I don't know what you mean by that exactly, because there are neurological pathways that deal with reflex, and there are non-reflex neurological pathways.
Yeah, but they're the same. The underlying mechanism is just neurons firing and transferring the signal along different pathways. One is very short and we call it reflex. The other ones are longer and longer. And you can debate how much consciousness is involved. But at the end of the day, they're all identical to the reflex.
So that's not true if that's what you mean. If you mean we live in a deterministic universe, if it has something to do with that, again, the same thing would apply. We can perceive things, we can feel things. A robot can't.
But you understand the way the nervous system works is one neuron activates another, activates another. It's just a chain of reflexes. Each neuron is just a tiny
No,
robot.
no,
What do
no.
you mean?
Again, there are
No.
reflex neural pathways and there are non-reflex neural pathways. So that's not true.
Fine. No, but at the end of the day, the entire nervous system is just neurons, and each neuron just activates the postsynaptic neurons, right? There's presynaptic neurons, postsynaptic neurons. A neuron receive inputs. If it weighs and if it brings it up to action potential, then it delivers the message to its postsynaptic neurons.
Again,
that's all it is.
there are reflex and non-reflex neural pathways. If you have a
They're different pathways, but the mechanism is identical.
reflex neural pathway, they can be activated without you knowing it. So if you're brain dead, or if you're like in a coma, like again, if you like tickle somebody, they won't feel the tickling, but their nervous system will make their foot like go up. That's one way to tell if it's a reflex or if it's a actual cognitive response.
Yes, but the neural network of the reflex in the knee is identical to the entire nervous system. It's just a chain of neurons. That's all it is.
Well,
One
it's not
neuron
identical.
activates-
It activates completely different neural pathways. So it's not
Well,
identical.
exactly.
And the way it's
Exactly.
perceived by your brain is different. So again,
Right.
so again, non-reflex neural activity means you can perceive it cognitively. If it's just a reflex neural pathway, you might be able to perceive it, you might not, but it's a completely different pathway in your nervous system.
Yes, but ultimately, the entire nervous system is composed of neurons, right? The
Sure.
unit of the nervous system is a neuron. Each neuron is just a little robot that, when activated enough, then becomes activated, and so the signal continues.
Okay,
And that's what happens.
so consciousness is the sum of all of its parts. So sure, an individual neuron is not conscious. So if we track, I don't know, the electrical signals going up to your brain
How do,
from when
how do you know that? How do you know that a single neuron is not conscious?
well, again, there's no inferences that we can make to suggest that a single neuron is conscious.
What do you mean? I mean,
2 neurons are conscious, 3 neurons are. So what is consciousness? How many neurons is consciousness?
What
The way
what
a
inferences
neuron-
can we make that a single neuron is conscious?
a neuron behaves like any cell. You know, it.
Well, again,
Right, and every neuron behaves like any cell. It has input, processing, output.
why would we assume that any single cell is conscious?
Again, it goes back, to our perception as scientists. Like the way me and you we behave is very similar to the way a virus behaves and to the way a neuron or any other cell. behaves.
So sorry, you're just assuming that anything that can respond intelligently to stimulus is conscious, or there's a good degree of evidence that just because it can respond intelligently, it's conscious.
Right, but consciousness is just a macro illusion. Right? The complexity.
It can't be an illusion.
of the-
It can't be an
Wait,
illusion
what?
if you're perceiving it. Like choice can be an illusion, but if you're perceiving
Why
something,
can't-
perception itself can't be an illusion.
Why
Why
not?
not?
Perception itself cannot be an illusion. What you're perceiving can be an illusion. Like, choice could be an illusion. Colors can be an illusion. They might not really be there. But perception itself cannot be an illusion.
But if you meditate on it, you'll see that it is.
No.
'Cause, I mean, all you could say that your perception, your consciousness is just the inputs. It's just the inputs, right? You're just experiencing the inputs.
Right. All that you ever think about is all the inputs. You don't think about something that was never your input. So you're just reflexing to the input.
Okay, but again, perception itself cannot be an illusion. What you're perceiving
the
can be an illusion.
It's just a mechanical reaction.
But perception itself, how would the fuck that's not even logically possible?
Like, look, it's a good question. So you'd have to explain to me. So where does it come from?
Where does what come from?
Awareness, perception, consciousness.
Well, no one knows for sure, but again, if we're
What do you mean no one knows for sure? Then you cannot discuss it. I mean, if you don't understand something, why are we discussing it?
going to assume that a brain similar to ours
I mean, you have to have a theory of mind in order to have this discussion.
would create a consciousness, then again, it's some sort of emergent property of a brain or something similar to a brain.
One neuron, two neurons, three. How many neurons is what you call a brain?
But you can see with ChatGPT, you can see that it's already beginning to display consciousness.
No.
Just
This is very strange that he said that ChatGPT does not display emergent consciousness.
No. Show me a peer-reviewed paper
Again with the show me peer-reviewed paper. Oh my god.
indicating where some experts in AI are suggesting that ChatGPT is conscious to some degree.
I don't know about paper, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like.
And I don't see the point of show me. But what's there to show? I mean, you don't feel that ChatGPT is beginning to display consciousness? Why do you need papers? Why do you need other people to tell you? Either you noticed it or you didn't notice it. So what if people told you that they noticed it? The question is, did you notice it?
In these podcasts, this theory has been proposed multiple times, and
So
it's
so just because ChatGPT is intelligent, it doesn't mean it's conscious. You can look at the code and see
I mean,
how these
okay.
algorithms work. You will
These algorithms? These are just neural networks. What do you mean algorithms?
get the response that you know will happen just by looking at the algorithmic code.
The algorithmic code is very simple. It's just a neural network.
It's just a neural network.
It's not a neural network. It's code. It's
Wait, what? It's not a neural network. It's code. It's a neural network coded in code, but it's a neural network.
code. It's possible for code. So it's possible for code to maybe become conscious at some point, but no one in the expert of
What do you mean it's possible for code? It's a neural network.
AI is claiming ChatGPT has any level of consciousness.
Okay, I mean, I've heard people on
It sounds like he has no idea what a neural network is.
podcasts propose this, and all I'm saying is you can see the beginning of an indication of consciousness. You can see it. I mean, as it's
No,
improving, you can.
you're just
imagine-
seeing an AI become more sophisticated and give more intelligent responses. That's it.
Yeah,
But
but it's
I've heard you state this before, that a neural network can become conscious. I've heard you say this.
What do you mean? Oh, like you mean
You
like
said
in a
that-
lobster?
No, I heard you say that a computer can become conscious.
Well,
What
yeah.
you mean by
Well, yeah. But I don't think anybody currently, the state ChatGPT is in, is suggesting that ChatGPT has an early form of consciousness. But like, yeah, in the future, it could be possible that ChatGPT could become conscious. But right now, like again, I would like to see a peer-reviewed paper on the topic. Like,
yeah, with the papers. Hold on, we have people talking to us. What's going? So this guy says, like again, so again, like again, so again. I don't get it. Who is Soul Strength? Who is this guy? I don't know. 11:22. Oh, this is from 30 minutes ago. Okay.
I want to see in some sort of like AI or science journal somebody making a paper suggesting that. I don't really care about podcast episodes.
I mean, these podcasts are by the world leaders of AI and brain science.
Well, they can
I
have
see.
whatever opinion they want on a fucking like Joe Rogan podcast. I want to see it published in a
No.
paper. That's what I'm.
He wants to see these people publish their opinions in a paper. Otherwise, he doesn't care for when they say it in a podcast. That's weird.
Going to take some
I
of these
don't
things
listen.
seriously.
I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to Brain Science and Brain Matters and to Street Talk. I listen to actual AI and neuroscience podcasts, and I know these people personally. This is the world from which they come. So
Okay, well,
if-
again, I'm not going to listen to podcasts. I don't take that as like a serious scientific.
Wait, what? You don't think podcast like that's where actual scientists have scientific discussions? Why don't you do you listen to lectures? You don't listen to lectures either? You don't read textbooks? You don't read books? I don't get it.
Scientific forum. Show me. I'd be
You don't talk to scientists? You don't conduct experiments? I don't get it.
interested to see an actual paper
This guy's like fixated on scientific papers and only those that have been peer reviewed. Very few papers, actually.
on the topic, but until then, I'm not taking that claim seriously.
Not taking their claims seriously? They're just an opinion. I mean, people have said that ChatGPT is beginning to show signs of consciousness.
You yourself claim that in the future you can see ChatGPT becoming
Sure.
aware, self-aware.
Sure, possibly. But again, I want to see evidence.
See, why would you say that it's going to become self-aware if you didn't have evidence?
A podcast episode isn't evidence.
I don't need podcast episodes. You can just use ChatGPT and you'll feel that it's emerging as a self-aware entity.
Look, you have the indication. I don't understand. You yourself claim that you can see it materializing. So I don't understand.
Okay,
Mhm.
we're just going around in circles at this point.
You
But
know,
I think I misunderstood some of the points you were making in the live stream you did. It seemed to me that you were defending her claims that a single-celled organism is sentient. She clearly contradicted herself on that front. And I don't know if you're defending her claim that plants feel pain.
I mean, when she says cry, she means they output certain chemicals.
No, that's not what she
I
said.
didn't
That's
go-
not what she said. Specifically, they feel pain.
Oh, they make micro.
No. She
microsonic waves?
she said specifically they feel pain. That is a different claim than they make like these sort of micro sounds or they release pheromones or something like that. She said specifically they feel pain.
I mean, since I agree that single-celled and viruses can have an experience, then I can agree that they can experience a very primitive form of pain. Yes, I would agree with that.
You think plants can feel pain?
A very primitive form of
Yeah,
pain.
very
Like,
primitive.
we are very
form of
complex
pain.
machines. They're very simple machines. So a complex machine feels a complex
What-
set of
And
emotions.
I'm just wondering what evidence suggests that.
Just when I look at a single cell, like an amoeba on video, and I see its
Okay.
behavior,
Okay, if that's what you think, like if that's your standard of evidence, that I
What's
see
your-
something that kind of moves around in a
Actually, the way he described why he eats bivalves, he said it's because they don't react when we kill them. Interesting.
funny way, then I don't know what to tell you.
look, it behaves just like me and you when it comes to life and
No,
death.
no, I don't think an amoeba behaves just like me or you. I think you're anthropomorphizing a fucking amoeba. But okay, we've gotten to the bottom of this.
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Sorry for freaking out at you. I get
No, it's okay.
I just
and
get
I'd
pissed
love
off.
to. It's okay. I'd love to have an MMA match. I hope you don't kill me.
maybe an arm
Okay,
wrestling
alright.
match, at the very least.
No, MMA is good.
Okay.
I love MMA. MMA is great. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk.
All right, take care, dude.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Oh boy.
That was
Um,
very
Don't
interesting.
know that AI on stream. Why not?
Fuck you, Mr.
If you learn how machine learning works, you may it doesn't really make sense. There's no proof. Don't know why you keep saying AI can be sentient. A while ago, I don't know what that is. Oh right, I still have it up. Don't know why you keep saying AI can be sentient. It doesn't really make sense. There's no proof or reason that AI can be sentient. And if you learn how machine learning works, you may understand that. Okay. Well, thanks, Dodo. I guess we can watch that on stream. Why not?
Fuck you, Mr. Slave, you dumbass. Your name is an insult to Richard's ancestors.
I guess it sort of is, but thanks for the donation, Peter. Appreciate it.
It sort of is. So if I call myself a slave, that I'm hurting his feelings? That's weird.
Right now, it's sort of simulating.
So with machine learning, I don't think that's a pathway to sentience. I think you would either have to have something like the AI in Metal Gear that were literally parts of people's brains that were put into a computer system and modified in a certain way to be made into an AI like GW in the Metal Gear games.
What?
Or possibly if you could simulate neurons, that could be another way. So a machine could
What do you mean if you could simulate neurons? That is exactly what a neural network is.
simulate a brain, and if it could simulate it accurately enough, that brain could maybe actually be sentient.
All of them and defeat a gym leader.
Well, so that's simple enough, and that's basically what ChatGPT is.
At one point, it even manages to exploit the game's random number generator. But perhaps more fascinating than its successes are the ways that it fails, which are surprisingly relatable to our own human experiences. It turns out that studying the behavior of an algorithm can actually teach us a lot about ourselves. In this video, I'll tell the story of this AI's development and analyze the strategies it learns. At the end, I'll go deeper into some technical details and show you how to download and run the program yourself.
Are you going to post the debate you had yesterday with that stupid chick? I couldn't watch it because I had to go to work. I caught a brief part of it where she couldn't answer why she thinks carnivores should violate animals' rights.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it. Don't worry. Thanks for the donation, Vegan Ninja.
Let's start by asking, how does it work? The AI interacts with the game much like a human. It takes in images from the screen and chooses which buttons to press. It optimizes its choices using something called reinforcement learning. With this method, we don't have to tell the AI explicitly which buttons to press. We only need to give it high-level feedback on how well it's playing the game. What this means is that if we assign rewards to the objectives we want it to complete, the AI can learn on its own through trial and error. So what does this look like? The AI will start with no knowledge or skills whatsoever and will only be able to press random buttons. So for it to get any useful feedback, we need to create a gentle curriculum of rewards which will guide it towards learning the difficult objectives. Perhaps the most basic objective to start with is exploring the map. We'd like a way to reward the AI when it reaches new locations. More generally, we'd like to encourage curiosity. One way to do this is by keeping a record of every screen the AI has seen. As the game is being played, we can compare the current screen against all screens in the record to see if there are any close matches. If no matches are found, this means the AI has discovered something new, so we'll give it a reward and add the new screen to the record.
You should start challenging people to a Pokemon match or a Mario Smash Bros. Game. Your coordination lack makes it likely you get knocked.
Rewarding it for unique screens should encourage it to find new parts of the game and seek out novelty. Alright, now that we have an objective, let's start the learning process and see how it goes. At this stage, the AI is
Stop every once in a while, otherwise he's going to give me a copyright strike. I hope he doesn't, but if he does, it will be terrible.
essentially pressing random buttons just to see what happens.
And I don't know if I'm just stopping. That's transformative. It has to be transformative. Anyway, I'm listening to hear what he's listening to. It's interesting because it sounds like he doesn't understand what a neural network is. But then he said if you can actually simulate, then it will be. But that is what ChatGPT is. So I don't understand what he does not understand.
To gather experience more quickly, we'll have it play 40 games simultaneously, and each will play for 2 hours. Now the AI will review all of the games and update itself based on the rewards it earned. If it goes well, we should see incremental improvement, and the whole process can repeat. After a few iterations of training, the AI finds its way out of the starting room noticeably faster than when its behavior was random. For some reason though, instead of exploring Route 1, it becomes fixated on a particular area of path.
Do you think the sentience that the puppet master in Ghost in the Shell had is possible for a program? Also, Jasmine convinced him to go on a trip somewhere. I know you don't want to, but just get away. Just say fuck it and go to a resort. Life is short.
That type of program probably wouldn't become sentient. Again, conceivably, it could be very intelligent, and it might display signs of intelligence, like wanting to kind of combine with a sentient organism.
What are you basing this on? I mean, you're just making assertions. You have to have a theory of how. I mean, you have to have some theory in order to make any prediction.
In all likelihood, if I were to make a guess,
What do you mean guess? What's your theory? You have to have a scientific theory, and based on that, you can make a prediction, and then you collect data, run the experiment, collect data, and see if the prediction fits.
chances are an AI would gain sentience from either simulating an actual brain, like a structure
That's literally ChatGPT.
of neurons and everything, or the AI is actually made out of a brain, sort of like the AI in Metal Gear Solid, like the AI GW or something. Thanks for the donation, though, Quest. Ugh. Convince him to go to a trip somewhere. I'll take a vacation.
Become distracted. Notably, the area it's stuck in has animated water, grass, and NPCs walking around. It turns out this animation is actually enough to trigger the novelty reward many times. So according to our own objective, just hanging out and admiring the scenery is more rewarding than exploring the rest of the world.
EV don't need tillers. Most modern machine learning models work by copying how neural networks function. They imitate individual neurons and the links between them, but they use way fewer neurons than you'd find in a real brain. Interesting. Yeah. Maybe it would be possible then. Thanks for the donation, though, EV.
Oh, so he admits that he was wrong in my debate. Interesting. So he didn't know what a neural network was until now. Interesting.
I hate.
So what do you think a neural network is?
People like whoever the fuck that was. Stop listening to podcasts and read an actual book on neuroscience. Claiming a neuron is sentient is something a 14-year-old would propose to sound intellectual. Same with saying AI is sentient. Fucking dork.
Like, the guy literally claimed his only evidence in favor of the idea that a single-celled organism is sentient is because he anthropomorphizes an amoeba.
What's your evidence that you have sentience? It's the same argument.
Not
You anthro from anthro for what's the word?
organism is sentient is because he anthropomorphizes an amoeba.
Anthropomorphize? So you
Not a very sharp dude.
So you anthropomorphize people. I mean, when you see a person, right? You've never met me. All you have is an online interaction with me. So how do you know I'm sentient? So you anthropomorphize my behavior as sentience.
Thanks for the donation, though. I will break a motherfucker.
So after all that, he still thinks I'm a dummy dum-dum. That's fascinating.
This is a paradox that we encounter in real life. Curiosity leads us to our most important discoveries, but at the same time, it makes us vulnerable to distractions and gets us into trouble. As humans, we can reflect on our own sources of intrinsic motivation, but we can't easily change them. In contrast, it's straightforward for us to change these for the AI. Returning to our current scenario, a reward is triggered if more than just a few pixels differ from previously seen screens. But if we
I don't know how to do this without him giving me a copyright strike. It's going to be impossible. I don't know how to do it. I mean, he watches other people's videos and he doesn't get copyright strikes, but he would easily give me a copyright strike just because he hates me or whatever. Okay, anyway, it's been too long. I have to get back to my life. Let me see where we are. This is it. Yeah, we've been here for another hour. All right, everyone, that's enough. I'm going to go. Goodbye.